In war, one of the things that an enemy can do to defeat you is to send in what's called a decoy. A decoy is a fake attack to distract you while your enemy attacks you from some other spot. And while you're wasting your ammo and your time and your attention on the decoy, your enemy comes in from somewhere else to defeat you, to destroy you. We're finite. We have only so much energy and strength and power and attention. And the devil, because we're finite and we're bodily creatures, we're limited to this world of the senses, the devil is a lot smarter than we are. Never ever forget that. And the devil wastes our time and our energy on decoys. Happens all the time. And the gospel today is an example of that. What is the main waste of resources that happens when the devil sends in decoys and we put all our attention on this fake enemy that the devil sends? What's the problem with that? Well, among many other saints that say this, St. Francis de Sales says, and I quote this all the time, it's a really important thing to pay attention to. St. Francis de Sales says, next to sin, which is the worst thing that can happen to a soul, the second worst thing that could ever happen to the soul is to give in to anxiety. Because anxiety completely drains us. It weakens us. So that when the actual attack comes, we have no strength left to fight. In the gospel, the Pharisees are really worried, they're anxious, and they're judgmental of Jesus' disciples. Why? Because they didn't wash their hands before they ate. Now, let's be clear about this. It's a really good idea to wash your hands before you eat. Please do that. And maybe if your hands are really dirty and you eat and something bad gets into your body, you might get sick. You might get really sick. But it is not going to destroy your soul. It's a great idea to wash your hands, but it's not one of the 10 commandments. Not every bad thing is a sin. That's exactly what Jesus is distinguishing here. There are very valid traditions of human beings. And in fact, at the end of the gospel, Jesus brings up parents. Parents. Actually, no, let me talk to the kids. Kids, if you don't make your bed, Mother Mary is not going to be sad. Don't make your bed because Jesus is going to be upset with you. Make your bed because your mom and dad told you to. That's enough. And parents, rely on your own valid, God-given authority as parents. Don't bring God into the picture when it's about like eating your salad or whatever. You're undermining your own authority when you make everything about religion. It's not. Jesus is saying there's plenty of good things you can do. Don't bring God into the picture. It was about washing their hands. But, well, so what's the big deal? Why can't I do that? Exactly because of what's going on in the gospel today. It's a waste of our energy. It causes anxiety when we're worried that every time we touch anything, we have to go wash or God is going to condemn me. That is wasting our hearts and our love and our energy over things that God does not care about. He wants us to be wise. He wants us to live smart lives. That's enough to do the right thing, to do smart things like wash your hands. God's law is about our soul. Don't mix those two things. That's exactly what's going on in the gospel today. And it's enough of a danger. It's a big enough deal. What I'm talking about is a big enough deal that Jesus addressed it and Mark remembered it, and it's in the gospel until today. Don't dismiss this. So these decoys come. Every few years, I mean, priests all know this, but a lot of you guys who are close to the church, you notice this. Every few years, people invent a new sin because there's not enough. And the first reading today was from the 10 Commandments. The 10 Commandments are very clear expressions of God's law for us, of things that will actually destroy us, actually hurt our soul. That's great, and there's 10 of them. And there's other ones, other really important commandments to keep in mind, to keep ourselves close to God. But there's a limited number. Please don't walk around thinking every single thing is a sin. God gave us 10 so that we know there's a limit to them. What's wrong with that? Won't that make you more careful? No, it will make you more anxious. And it will waste your energy, and you're going to be worried about the traditions of man, which are fine, but you're going to be so worried about them that when actual sins come up, you're not going to have any strength left to fight them. The devil is smarter than you are. Sometimes it's literally demons that come up with these new sins to cause anxiety. Literal demons. And an exorcist will be talking to a demon, and the demon will tell the exorcist, oh yeah, you know what made me enter this soul? And then they'll just make up this new sin. And then the exorcist, who is a lot dumber than that demon, reports that to the public, as if that demon's word is the gospel and he needs to preach that demon's word. And people get so anxious, oh my gosh, now this thing and that thing, and if I listen to this kind of music, and if I buy this kind of thing, and if I read this thing, and if I do that, and some of those things might have some sins in them, but how much anxiety does it cause? No, if you read this book, a few years ago it was Harry Potter series, and if you read that, it's demonic and you're going to get possessed by the devil. Okay, fine, we're worried about this book, They're still reading romance novels. Actual lust in that book, in those books. That's perfectly fine, because the demon said, this is worse. And we're wasting our energy worried about this and this and this. No, I don't know if people care about it anymore. I hope not. Now, if you read those books and it causes you to worship the devil, stop reading those books. Otherwise, stop making sins up. And stop reporting what demons are telling you. Because they're smarter than you, and they're not going to tell you useful information. They're going to tell you things to cause you anxiety. They're the decoys. If you do this, I don't know, whatever, like they worry about this type of movement or exercise or whatever, and then, no, don't do that, but you're going to eat the worst food in the world, you're going to commit sloth all the time, you're not even going to care about your body, that's fine. Oh, if you listen to this band, again, if you're listening to a band causing you to be violent or lustful or hate your enemy or hate your friends or something like that, if it causes you to sin, then stop doing it by all means, 100%. Listening to secular music. Some secular music is perfectly fine. Some of it is bad, and see how it makes you feel and see what it does to you. But all secular music is bad? It wasn't when, like, your parents' secular music was fine. Why is it just your generation that's bad? Because people have an aesthetic, they like things and they dislike things, and apparently, if I dislike something, it has to be a demon. Do you see the problem with that? You're allowed to not like things. You're allowed to think that things are ugly. There's this ugly doll people are buying now and wasting their money on. I forgot what it's called. Right? Guys, it's okay to think that thing is ugly. You can leave it at that. Not every ugly thing has to be demonic. It is ugly and it's a waste of money. That's fine. Wasting money is the sin on that. Not the demon. Don't bring demons into everything. It's just going to cause anxiety. You're allowed to not buy your kids something. It's okay. Just rely on your authority and say, no, why not? Because I'm the mom and I said so. And let that be enough, and teach them that that's enough. It's challenging. Traditions of men sometimes. I've talked about this many times, but the traditions that are connected to marriage, and we treat it as if you don't do this, it's a sin. You have to do this and this and this and this and this, and you skip this, and if your party is a little bit less fancy, that's like, it's wrong. They feel like it's, or if you, I don't know, if you wear the same dress again. You understand that we treat that as worse than missing Mass the day after a wedding. Missing Mass is perfectly fine, but you wear the same dress, you're ostracized. They're going to talk about you for weeks. You miss Mass for a year, nobody cares. You see how backwards the priorities of human beings are? You got to marry from the same village. That's a law of man. Right? But you spend $500,000 on the wedding when people are starving, that's perfectly fine. Just marry from the same village and you're okay. You see why Jesus is making a point. Some traditions of men are great, they're fine. And marrying from the same village is fine. Just don't turn it into God's law. Because it's a decoy, it's a distraction. St. Peter, in one of his letters, says, be sober and alert. Because the devil is prowling like a lion trying to attack you. Be sober. And when we get anxious and emotional and upset and our blood boils, and we're so worried about this and this and that, that is not from God. That is like drunkenness. Be sober, be smart, be wise. Make these distinctions, understand things correctly, and understand God's law. And God's law is love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your strength, and your neighbor as yourself. And what leads you to that is good, and what leads you away from that is evil, whatever it is. And other things, if you like them, great, and if you don't, that's fine.